and the other indigenous people that he ran into, and it was obvious in one of the relations of Monte, who was traveling with Kino. He talks about they were on their way across the Devil's Highway to Yuma, and somebody came from the north and said, we have somebody who is dying and he wants the last rites. And it took Kino half a day, maybe a day, to go out of his way to perform the rites and then get back on the trail and head where he was going. And again, that's an example of many where the job is right there. That's what he's supposed to do. His job is not to explore or to make maps. It is to bring the faith, and he knows that the human factor is more important than the job at hand, the expedition, whatever it might be. This is important to him, and as a result, it becomes important. The people know Kino will come for the last rites. They know they wouldn't have even bothered to come get him if they didn't think, he's got a reputation of being there when people need him. So that's another part of Kino that really doesn't get in the general biographies. It's also the mindset of the day that if you are martyred, you get a special, well, it is the apex of your career. And when Father Sayeta gets martyred, Kino writes somewhat in disappointment that it wasn't him. It's just the idea, and very hard to understand today, that he really dedicated his life so much that he was sort of hoping that it was going to happen for him too. So it might have been a little bit of disappointment, but I think this one really sums it up as far as Kino, the active missionary. As I said, there's so much written about. He went here, he did this, he brought that, he set up this, he created that, and he was really more of an administrator, never living in Arizona, but being in charge of all of, sort of like the sales manager and the salesman out on the floor. He's back at the headquarters, the cabecera, sending out the missionaries, but so he's excellent at administration, but he's always doing. And what I hope that I've kind of conveyed is there was always also that faith that this is the most important thing that I can do, is to bring Christianity. And whatever God, he never really gave up on the idea of maybe I'll get to China. He felt that all of the beef, as Big Jim said, that all of this beef and flour, that Arizona would be the breadbasket for Baja. And eventually when Baja was set up, that's the stepping stone to China. So it's always, and I think it might have been because of the number of converts that you might run into in China. It's just millions compared to, a village here and a village there, maybe 2,000 people, 5,000 people. But his faith was, this must be where I'm supposed to be, because this is where God put me. And St. Ignatius Loyola had a dictum that fits Kino and his whole life. Pray as though everything depended on God, and work as if everything depended on you. And that's the way he worked. He said, I have to do this stuff. I have to get it done. And all of these people depend on me to be the most effective in action. But he knows that he's doing the footwork, and God is in charge. And so that's little known things about Father Kino, and I hope I got most of it right.
As a Jesuit-educated psychologist, I have to say that this guy had an obsessive-compulsive personality.
Absolutely.
Not a disorder.
No.
And that phrase you use there, I have to, I have to, I have to, I think that's a key item in his personality.
Yeah, good. Yeah, those of us who have obsessive compulsive find good outlets. I'm an editor and a researcher, and it comes in handy. Employers love obsessive compulsive editors. Martin?
Jim, I just want to make a comment about the Aquino portrait. The DeConcini family, they come from a village 20 miles from where Father Aquino was born. And the person who depicted Father Aquino in the rodeo parade, which we did win a judge's trophy for our entry, was Charles
Aquino?
Yes.
Best Aquino?
No, not Best Aquino. Best judges. Is Charles DeConcini. And Charles DeConcini is a cousin of the famous DeConcinis. His father, Ettore, who was a builder, they actually lived a couple blocks from here. He was born in the village, 20 miles away, and when you see Charles, Charles looks like Aquino.
One of the other things I think that we don't see an awful lot of acknowledgement of his contribution is the cartography.
Yeah.
You know, he was responsible for changing Baja from an island into a peninsula.
Yes. Yeah, and actually there were others who did. I mean, that goes back and forth, and there's new scholarship that says some people already knew that it was a peninsula, and he sort of rediscovered it, but the maps that he drew were used for 100 years. And so the fact that they didn't go out of date means they were very accurate. Okay, thank you very much.
Information from the table. I want to thank Tony Arroyo for taking pictures. He's been helping us. I want to also acknowledge some of the board members from the Aquino Heritage Society. Mark O'Hara in the back. She's the one that was asking a question. Patricia Venta in the back. And Josefina and Father Chris Corbally, Jesuit, also an astronomer. So, and Josefina Carlos. Again, thank you for coming, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with you in other events.